But surely you can understand. You were once a father, too.
That part of my life is gone forever. There is no hope of it returning.
Those days are dead. To relive them is needless.
Yo, what up? It's Crash, and we're obviously going to be talking about how did Tyr receive this Greek relic depicting Kratos, as well as how well does Tyr know about Kratos, and does he even know that he's still alive right now, or does he believe that he died or is currently dead? Let's begin. How did Tyr receive this Greek relic of the ghost of Sparta, yelling up at the gods with rage? Let us further analyze this vase. Kratos stands atop a pile of dead soldiers bearing his infamous red mark in honor of his brother Deimos. On the other side, the people of Greece, called Hellenes, are seen rebuilding their homeland. Kratos released the power of hope to the mortals of Greece when he embedded the blade of Olympus in his abdomen, an attempt to free himself from the unforgettable and unforgivable horrors he had committed.
I hope for nothing. I fear nothing. I am free.
Upon regaining consciousness, a realization occurred. A curse of deathless misery now followed him. Immortality. Sentenced to spend all of eternity alone. He had been tortured ever since that dreaded day, calling out to Ares to aid him in victory against the merciless barbarians. Now, having been denied the comforts of the grave, he seeks the nearest approximation. Believing he can escape his past, he ventured away from Greece. He also attempted in getting rid of the blades, throwing them off of Mount Olympus. Yet, another curse presented itself. The blades would never leave his side. No matter how far he traveled or through the blades of chaos, they always followed their master tirelessly. Knowing he will not be able to find peace in death or rid himself of these blades, he decides to venture away from the land where his horrors lay. He journeys with no destination. Days, weeks, and months pass. He eventually finds himself in the land of the pharaohs, Egypt. However, even in traveling endlessly, eating and drinking the bare minimum, enough to be able to move forward with a purpose, to get away as far as possible while attempting to get rid of the blades, the people of Egypt immediately recognized him, gasping in shock. Even Thoth, the god of scripture, as well as the first Egyptian god to greet him, was familiar with the ghost of Sparta. This makes one wonder what other pantheons have heard of Kratos, the fallen god of Greece, and how did they hear of him? Another question presents itself. What if Tyr heard of Kratos from his fellow Aesir, the Egyptian, or perhaps another pantheon? How much was he told, or how much did he educate himself on Kratos? Did Tyr visit Greece multiple times when Kratos was a man, when he became the new god of war, and after Greece was rebuilt? Certainly, we do know how these chaos-filled, eradicated lands were rebuilt. However, we do not know the lengthy amount of time it may have taken. In one of the many murals in the game, Tyr is depicted visiting numerous pantheons, seeming to be handing over knowledge, guidance, or a helping hand to the people of Greece, the pantheon with no gods. And perhaps, in order to keep his identity hidden or to make them believe that they were truly free from the gods, he never revealed that there are other pantheons or other gods besides the ones that they know. Now, story-wise, here is how I believe he received the relic. Tyr, the Pantheon Traveler of Peace, owns a ship, and Derlin, the Pantheon Collector of Knowledge, is the captain of the ship. As one day Tyr approached Derlin being the most familiar with the sea, and asked if he wanted to be the captain of his ship. Derlin obviously agreed, and so they became a two-man crew. Derlin proposes how he wishes to travel to Egypt as he has nearly no souvenirs. Tyr agrees, seeing as how he enjoys the calming sounds of the sand dunes. So they voyage, sailing through the waters. At this point in time, Odin receives news from his ravens as to how a man who became a god is on a mission to kill all the gods and anyone who gets in his way. Odin asks his ravens, "Who is this false god?" They further inform him, explaining how Kratos was crowned the new god of war after killing Ares, the original god of war who had aided him overcome an unwinnable battle. After the victory, he attempted to make him the perfect warrior, and he succeeded, as now he is after the king of the gods and has been making considerable progress. At this point in time, the relationship between Odin and Tyr is close. So during their voyage, Odin sends his ravens Hugin and Munin to message Tyr. The ravens arrive at night to the ship, while Tyr is standing on the deck staring into the cold water and Derlin asleep. The ravens perch on the ship and speak, warning him not to voyage or visit Greece under any circumstance whatsoever, as currently the newly crowned god of war is rampaging through all the gods, fueled by rage, vengeance, and retribution, seeking to destroy all of them, as all they have brought him is sorrow. Tyr is told of this news separately from Derlin, as he is obviously not a god. The ravens linger on the ship, awaiting for Tyr's dismissal or a message he would like to relay back. Tyr ponders what he should do. In his mind, he thinks, Ares, the Greek god of war, was murdered by a man, a mortal, the only man to become a god? Does he know other gods exist besides the ones of his land? Does he know other pantheons exist? I can go now and talk to him, tell him to stop. However, I may simply be made another target and not only put myself in danger, I may also put the mortals of his land in danger, as well as my fellow Aesir and the other gods of all the other pantheons in great stress. I cannot go now. It is far too dangerous. I will have to tell Derlin to voyage us back to Greece sometime after Odin can update me on the situation once again. Be strong, the people of Greece. Whoever you are, Kratos, ensure that only those who have brought this sorrow and misery die, and nobody else. Find peace, and maybe then I will attempt to find you. But first, the mortals must be attended to. Ravens, inform Odin to update me when Kratos' bloodlust ceases. I will revisit Greece. And so the ravens leave, leaving Tyr to imagine all the things Kratos has been through, losing everything. Time passes and Odin's ravens return to Tyr's ship, informing him how Kratos has nearly killed the entire Greek pantheon. Hermes, Hercules, Hephaestus, Hera, Poseidon, Hades, and most importantly, Zeus. And how now Kratos is seemingly leaving Greece, and he has been moving hundreds of miles every day for some time now. Tyr quickly thanks the ravens and dismisses them. Hastily, he wakes up Derlin, who was sleeping, and tells him their stay at Egypt has ended and how they have to travel to Greece, not later, but now. Derlin, obviously being confused, questions if he is certain. He is told once again of their immediate voyage and is told if he does not comply, he will be killed. Derlin can see this is not a joke and that this is in fact the most serious he's ever seen Tyr act before. The Norse god of war obviously does not stand by this threat, but knows if he does not talk to Kratos, it may mean the end of all the gods. And yet, Tyr is in another conflict as he cannot explain the reason as to why they're traveling back to Greece to his crewmate. So they journey, and all throughout it, Tyr constantly persists Derlin that he makes the ship sail faster. Tyr finds resting extremely difficult. yet he still cannot tell Durlin why. Durlin tries his best in moving as quickly as possible across the deep blue, but the journey still takes nearly a full year. They finally make it to Greece. Tyr takes his leave and tells Durlin to leave as well, to make his way back to his home realm, Svartalheim. Durlin obviously protests this, however this time Tyr draws his weapon, Tyrfing. Durlin states how he knows that the man who became a god is still in these lands and says he won't let Tyr let himself get killed. As to how he discovered this is unknown. As of this moment, it is revealed that Durlin does not know Tyr is also a god of war. Durlin grabs a weapon and approaches Tyr. The god of war explains how he admires the concern he holds for himself. In his own mind, he says how he only wishes he could tell Durlin the truth. Durlin puts up the fight he can. Tyr urges Durlin multiple times to stop, but Durlin is dedicated to bringing him back to the ship. So Tyr then finally shows only a handful of his true power, breaking through his guard and landing blows to his head. Finally, after 4 strikes, he passes out without a scratch on Tyr. Tyr carries him back to the ship, treats his wounds, and sets to the sail straight for Midgard. He quickly steps off the ship once again and watches it leave, knowing that Durlin will regain consciousness within 1 to 2 hours. Now he himself walks across Greece. After half a day, he finally comes across people. He approaches the city. Tyr, being over 7 feet tall, towers over them. It also causes him to be called out and be surrounded by awe. Tyr explains how he is a traveler and is seeking the man who was made a god and ultimately became a hero, how they potentially more likely know him as the ghost of Sparta. All gasp and look at each other. They tell Tyr how the one he is looking for is a murderer of his own wife and daughter, and nothing good comes from him. Tyr rebutted this, saying how they no longer have to live under the rule of the gods, thanks to Kratos. He further states how even after all the chaos that they were able to rebuild, and how he simply wishes to thank him. The people finally tell him everything, how sometime after the skies were nearly pitch black from the storms and waves and rising sea levels, a blue light beamed. More time passed and eventually everything went back to normal. Or how it was even better than normal. The conversation is interrupted by someone who yells out. A man with a vase steps forward and hands the vase over to Tyr. He gives Tyr the vase, explaining how this is what Kratos looks like, that the mark is unmistakable, along with his white ash skin. Before anyone talks any further, Tyr thanks the people for their help and wishes them a good day. He journeys forward and these thoughts race across his mind. Kratos, the god of war, ghost of Sparta, man made a god, fallen god, and pantheon killer. The many names you are known as. You've lost your entire bloodline. You've lost everything. But you still live moving away from here. Why? Do you think you can escape your past, or do you know that other gods besides the one of your land exist? I will have many other questions to ask you. Alright, well that was my lore/theory prediction on how Tyr received the Greek relic and how much he knows about Tyr. I have a few ideas on what my next theory will be on. It could be on who the eagle in Helheim is, how God of War Ragnarok will end, potentially with Kratos and Atreus splitting apart, causing a spin-off game with Atreus, and finally whether or not Angerboda is Egyptian. So let me know which one you'd like me to make a video on next, and if you have any personal theories of your own you'd like my take on. Enjoy the rest of your day, dog. Also, one more thing before I forget. We reached over 700 subscribers. I don't know how long ago I mentioned in the video saying thank you for 600 subscribers, but it hasn't been long enough. And we're already currently at 704 subscribers. So the fact that this channel has been growing a lot, it just motivates me to make even more God of War videos, more story/lore predictions, thinking how the game is going to play out. The fact that you like the video so much that you comment, that you like the video, that you subscribe to the channel. The goal by the end of the year is 1,000. So I don't know. We'll see if we can make it.
Yes.